holidays on Facebook.
Hey, what's up, you guys? It's Sarah Rivers, Realty 320, coming back with another video. So, let's go ahead and get this party started. Alright, so today I'm just going to go over what I think is important and essential, which is open houses. Open houses is how I started my whole journey into real estate. So really my suggestion, I mean, I hear it all the time. I see different YouTubes on like how to give this perfect open house and to get all these people in and whatever. Okay, so my suggestion to you would be, before you even get into real estate, before you even get your license, go ahead and go and look at as many open houses as you possibly can. So people go, okay, well, how do I do that? Well, now I'm going to show you how to go ahead and find those open houses. So really, you're just going to go to realtor.com, and you can also go to Zillow, right? Hold on, let's go ahead and close that down. All right, so if you're going to go to Zillow, this is Zillow, you're going to go to More. And then after More, you're going to go to Open Houses, must have open house, done. And you can see all these open houses that will be happening this weekend in Sanford or Orlando or wherever you may be. It will show you. On realtor.com, you'll do the same thing. Go to More. You're going to go down and it says Open Houses. You're going to click Open Houses and it's going to view it. So then what I would do is I would just get a notebook and I would write out all these different addresses, and then I would find out what time they're open from. So this one starts at 11 a.m. So this one doesn't tell me how long it's open till. So what I'll end up, or maybe it does, 11 to 3. So I would just set up a whole route to where I was going to go and visit these open houses. So that's what I would do. All right, so that's the first way you find your open houses. And then after finding them, I would go in and, like I said, I would talk to all the realtors and I would find out like what they like about their brokerage. But at the same time, I was seeing how I felt in their open house. So one thing for me, big thing for me, was if they didn't have enough signage, it made me feel like as if I was going to the wrong place and I was not really sure. And once you start going to these open houses, you'll start to realize this feeling of like, wow, I'm going into somebody's house. So it doesn't feel like, and there's people's stuff there and everything, and you're like, okay. So if they don't have a lot of signs, it made me feel not welcome. So I knew when I became a realtor, I was going to have a lot of signs. And I loved it when there was a lot of signs and it just like took you there. I didn't have to have my GPS. It was like, good, I see the sign from way over here, and I could just follow these signs all the way to the house. It was so important. It was so important. I was like, wow. And then I saw this fabulous like flag sign that said open house on it, and I was like, wow, when I become a realtor, I will be getting that flag. And my husband did get me that flag, so indeed. So what I would do is like I would take notes of things that I enjoyed in the open house. So if there was like a certain amount of marketing material that I was like, I really thought that I wanted to grab that marketing material because of what it was or whatever. I would take notes of everything that I liked about it, and then I would also take notes about everything that I did not like about it, right? So there would be things like, for me, you know, people say make fresh cookies in the house so it smells so good when they walk in, and I was like, do I really want to do that? Is it necessary, right? Because when I was going to open houses by myself, I was never taking any of the snacks. So I really felt like that was like such a lost, like you're spending money on something that people are not even like enjoying or taking, right? But I did start to go to open houses with my children. And this is where you need to change your perspective and realize who's coming into your open house. Because when I went with my kids to go look at open houses, it was a whole different thing. Those snacks were needed. Those snacks were like, thank you, because my kids were going to drive me crazy and not let me finish these open houses. But so it gave me a whole new perspective on having cookies and snacks and chips and waters and juice and whatever else. So I just know, like, for me, it's about knowing the neighborhood. Once you become a realtor, this will be easier for you to get to know the neighborhood, but because you could door knock the neighborhood. You could see if there's a lot of kids outside, or if there's a lot of dogs, or if there's a lot of older people or whatever. And then you could know, like, well, if it's a bunch of older people, they're not really going to care about these cookies the way that kids are going to, you know? Okay, same thing. All right, so yeah, so you want to, like I said, you want to know the neighborhood, because then you know who you're marketing to. And then when you're ready to host your first open house after you've gotten your license, you will be very comfortable and really excited to host your own open house, because now you get to implement all the things that you've been taking notes on, and all the things that you're like, now I can go make this great open house. And really always get feedback, because you can always improve. So I'm just gonna go into like what I actually do at open houses. So now I've kind of told you, like, find your way, and this is the way to find your way, but now I'm going to tell you how I do it and what I like. So for me, I always use at least 25 signs or more, and I always usually have the flag with the open house beautiful sign out in the front. Why? Like I told you guys, it makes you feel comfortable. It makes you feel like this place is really open. It doesn't make you feel like, should I knock on the door? Because I'm going to tell y'all right now, when you're using Zillow and you're using Realtor.com to find open houses, those aren't always accurate. So I've definitely been to places that they're like, sorry, our house is already pending. And I'm like, oh, sorry, I just found it on Realtor.com, so sorry, you know, and leave. But just so you know, that may happen. And it's just because Zillow and Realtor.com really don't update as much as the MLS updates, okay? So you may be a place where you're like, ooh, not supposed to be here. So signage, so important. All right, another thing I like to do is I like to set up a sign-in sheet or a little station right at the front, so that you're capturing people's information as they come in. So you could use an iPad, and there's plenty of little apps and different stuff that you can use for a sign-in sheet. But I would just use the regular paper, and the regular paper I would capture the information on my sign-in sheets would be their name, their phone number, their email address, and I would ask them, are they already working with the realtor? I would ask them, are they already pre-qualified? And then I would add, these are all just little check boxes, make it real simple for them, you know? And I would ask them, are they already working with the realtor? Are they already pre-qualified? And do they have a home that they're looking to sell first before moving, right? This is all information you'll want to know. This is, again, your brokerage is probably going to have open house sign-in sheets. Or if you're doing an open house for another realtor, they may have a specific sign-in sheet that they want you to use. And, you know, just whatever way. The reason why you are doing open houses is to capture potential buyers' information. And then to follow up with them and contact them and email them and get their phone number. And a lot of the times what I realized doing open houses is that people would give you the wrong information. So the best way to do that now, what I've learned is, like with my brokerage, we have our own app. So when you hold open houses, I'll say, hey, let me send you my app. And then that way you could search houses all through this app. And I could send you updated information. Oh, and it has a really cool mortgage calculator on there too, so you can use that. And then people will be more yeah, sure, send it to me. And then you get their phone number, and then you can really have real conversations with these people. And if you give them your app, most of the time the app tracks all the information, and you'll know what houses they're looking at, and you'll know what kind of area they like, and all this just from the information off of your app. Okay, so definitely when you're interviewing for brokerages, ask about their technology and if they have an app. Okay, most of them do. So another thing I like to do is I like to know what else is on the market within that neighborhood. So I will go into my MLS, and you could just type in, if it's in a subdivision, you could type in the subdivision name, and you could see what else's houses are on the market. And I would also look at what just sold. So then that way I would know the information as far as like what is selling and how much it's selling for, and what is comparable to the house that I am trying to market to you, and so that I can know, hey, there's another one down the street, but it's 20,000 more. This one's a steal, or vice versa. You know, I don't really want to know about the other one down the street that's 20,000 less, right? So whatever way you want to use it to your advantage, okay? I would go on to listreports.com, and I would just type in the address of the house that I'm doing the open house for, and it would actually print out a report, and it would tell you what schools are nearby, and how far away a park is, and how far away a dog park is, and how far away shopping and groceries, and it gives you this whole little cool little printed layout. And I would put that into like a plastic whatever frame, and I would have that, so then that way I can reference it and look back at it when they do ask me questions, but also so they can just look at it themselves. It's a really cool little easy way to have your information laid out for you. I would also have plenty of business cards, of course. I would print the customer synopsis from the MLS, and I'd bring those with me. I'd print them in color. Usually people will take it more if it's in color, that I noticed, but you don't have to. You really don't. And then I would door knock the neighborhood 2 days before my open house. And what I would do is I would create my own open house flyer. I create my own on canva.com. That's canva.com. And what I would do is I would create a flyer that says open house 12 to 4 Sunday, whatever. And when I would door knock, what I would say to the neighbors is, hey, I'm going to be opening the house down the street, 123 Main Street, and I just wanted to invite all the neighbors to come over for the first hour. It's going to be open to just the neighbors, and then after that everybody else will be welcome to come and see. And I know that most people that buy a new house are usually recommended by neighbors or family members that want them nearby, so that's why I'm giving you guys the opportunity to come first. And then most of the time they'll just take the flyer and say thanks, or cool, I've always wanted to see that house, I didn't know John was moving. And what's really cool about door knocking the neighborhood is you start to know who the neighbors are and who's the demographics, so then you're able to like really lay out your open house more for that neighborhood, you know. And then I would, what else? Oh, I would bring, for my snacks and stuff, I would bring small waters. I wouldn't ever really bring the big waters. I found people would take a sip out of it. And then if it was a crowded open house, I would either find them like left places, or I just felt like small waters, better, easier. Not a lot of people are taking these waters, So I'd bring the small waters, I'd bring a bowl of mints, because who doesn't love mints, right? And I would also have some kind of candy, like a Jolly Rancher or something like that. And then I would bring the variety bag of like chips, and the variety bag of like the sweet stuff, so like the cookies or whatever. And I would have one of those. So then that way they would, usually most of the time people would just take the mints, but if I was in a neighborhood with kids, they would definitely take the cookies and the chips and the waters. And I would bring Capri Suns, especially if I was in a neighborhood where I'm expecting a lot more children. Another great thing to do is to bring a speaker, so you can have good listening. music playing from like Pandora or something like that. And then also I would bring like an essential oil diffuser, because just like the smell sometimes when you go into a house, when especially people, it's like an empty house and it's been moved out, and it kind of like, you kind of want more of a better scent that's in there. So the lavender or the rose, I felt like people like those ones. And that's it. So that's how I would host my open houses, and that is how I found out how to host my open houses. And yeah, so comment down below what information you guys want to learn from me, and also comment down below if this was helpful, or if you want me to get more in depth with like, how do I find somebody to allow me to do their open house or whatever. That's very simple for me. It was like when I was with Keller Williams, like I would just go onto their Facebook page, and they had a Facebook page for all their agents, and you just simply ask, and there's plenty of agents out there that have more than one listing that would be more than happy if you would do their open house for them. And that's it. Thanks, guys.